In the previous video of NMR, I have discussed how to identify sets of chemically equivalent protons, how to calculate number of NMR signals given by any organic molecule, and how does shielding and deshielding affect the chemical shift. So let's apply your previous knowledge to get the number of signals given by this molecule. First of all, identify the sets of chemically equivalent protons. So here there are two sets of chemically equivalent protons. As there are two sets of chemically equivalent proton, this molecule gives rise to two signals in NMR spectrum. But which signal belong to which set of proton? B set of proton are in electron deficient environment as they are closer to electronegative bromine atom. As they are deshielded one, they will give signal at higher delta value or the downfield signal. So the signal obtained at higher delta value correspond to B set of proton, and the signal observed at lower delta value or closer to TMS corresponds to A set of proton, as these protons are shielded one. This is one of the example of simple NMR spectrum. But in high resolution NMR spectrum, compound give rise to complex pattern of signal called multiplets instead of single peak like you observed in this spectrum. When you observe the NMR spectrum of the same molecule at higher resolution, you will observe multiplets instead of single peaks. In this video, we are going to discuss the reason behind the multiplets or the splitting of the signal. Splitting of signal caused by spin-spin coupling. It occurs when different kind of protons present on neighboring carbon influence the magnetic field of each other. For example, in this molecule, there are two sets of chemically equivalent protons. Both the protons are present on the neighboring carbons. So proton A can influence the magnetic field of proton B, and proton B can influence the magnetic field of proton A. That's why in simple NMR spectrum, this molecule gives rise to two separate signals for both the protons. But under high resolution NMR spectrum, two doublets are observed for both the protons. Let's try to understand how does proton A and proton B influence each other's magnetic field that cause the splitting of signals. For example, this is the direction of applied magnetic field. And if the magnetic field of proton B is lined up with the applied magnetic field, it can combine with the applied magnetic field. Hence, the proton A will experience more magnetic field and it causes more energy difference between its alpha and beta spin state. Therefore, it absorbs signal at higher delta value. While in the another condition, if the magnetic field of proton B is lined up against the applied magnetic field, it gets subtracted from the applied magnetic field. Hence, the proton A will experience lesser magnetic field that causes lesser energy difference between its alpha and beta spin state. Therefore, it absorbs signal at lower delta value. That's why instead of getting single peak in NMR spectrum for proton A, you will get doublets for proton A. Similarly, you will get doublets for proton B as well. This doublet has relative peak intensity 1:1. That means both the peaks are of same intensity. As there is equal possibility of magnetic field of proton B to either line up with the applied magnetic field or line up against the applied magnetic field. So here we have seen the splitting of signal of proton A in the presence of one neighboring proton. But if there are more neighboring protons, then how does the splitting of signal will take place? For example, in this molecule, here proton A has three neighboring protons. In that condition, signal of proton A splits into quadrate due to presence of three neighboring protons. And this quadrate has relative peak intensity 1:3:3:1. As we have discussed earlier, the intensity of peak depends on the combination of magnetic field of proton B with the applied magnetic field. For example, if this is the direction of applied magnetic field, if magnetic field of all B set of proton line up with the applied magnetic field, in that condition proton A will give signal at higher delta value. In another condition, when the magnetic field of all B set of proton line up against the applied magnetic field, in that condition, proton A will give signal at lower delta value. There are another two possibilities. If magnetic field of two of the proton line up with the applied magnetic field, This is one set of condition. This is the second set of condition, and this is the third set of condition. In all three conditions, proton A will give signal at higher delta wave. And in another possibility, if the magnetic field of either of the two protons line up against the applied magnetic. So this is the one possibility, this is the second possibility, and this is the third possibility. In all these three conditions, proton A will give signal at lower delta wave. That's why peak intensity depends on the combination of magnetic field of neighboring proton with the upright magnetic field. Now for sure you must be wondering, how do we calculate the splitting of signal and how to find the relative intensities of the signal? For the calculation of splitting of signal, n+1 rule is there. And to find the relative intensities of signal, you can use the Pascal triangle. First of all, we are going to discuss relative intensities. Relative intensities of peak depends on the number of ways in which magnetic field of neighboring proton can be arranged with the applied magnetic field. The number of combinations of magnetic field can be given by Pascal's triangle. Pascal's triangle, there is one on both the sides of the triangle, and this number represents the intensities of the corresponding peaks. For example, for singlet, peak intensity will be 1. For doublet, peak intensity of both the peaks in doublet is equal to 1:1. But you don't have to remember these numbers in the Pascal's triangle. According to Pascal, each number at the bottom of the triangle is the sum of two numbers to its immediate right and left number present in the row above to it. For example here, 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So that's why for the triplet, intensity of peak will be 1:2:1. Now let's apply this rule to get the peak intensities of the quadruplet. So when you add 1 and 2, you will get 3. And when you add 2 plus 1, you will get 3. So for the quadruplet, peak intensity will be 1:3:3:1. Similarly, you can get the peak intensity for the quintet. So when you add 1 plus 3, you will get 4. When you get 3 plus 3, you will get 6. And when you add 3 plus 1, again you will get 4. So this is the peak intensity for the quintet. And it is equal to 1:4:6:4:1. Similarly, you can get the peak intensities of the different multiplets also. Now come to the n+1 rule to calculate the splitting of the signal. Multiplicity of a signal can be calculated by n+1, where n is the number of equivalent protons bonded to adjacent carbons. Equivalent protons means a proton bonded to an adjacent carbon are equivalent to each other, but not equivalent to the proton giving rise to the signal, because equivalent protons cannot split each other's signal. For example, in this molecule, there are two sets of chemically equivalent protons. Now use this n+1 rule to get the multiplicity of proton A. To get the multiplicity of proton A, you have to calculate the B set of proton. As these protons are non-equivalent to proton A, but they are equivalent to each other and they are present on the neighboring carbon to which proton A is bonded. Now place the value in the formula. Here there are 3 B set of protons. So we will get 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. That means signal of proton A will split into 4, or you will get the quartet for proton A. Similarly, calculate the multiplicity of proton B. For proton B, you have to calculate the number of proton A. So there is just one proton A. So here you will get 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Means proton B will give doublet. Here proton A and proton B are known as coupled proton, as they split each other's signals. Now come to the another example. First of all, identify the sets of chemically equivalent protons. So there are 3 sets of chemically equivalent protons. So let's calculate the multiplicity of proton A. To get the multiplicity of proton A, you have to calculate the equivalent protons present on the neighboring carbon. As there are 2 equivalent protons present on the neighboring carbon, here you will get 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. That means signal of proton A will split into triplet due to presence of 2 neighboring protons. Now get the multiplicity of proton B. For proton B, there are 3 neighboring protons. So here you will get 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. That means signal of proton B will split into quadruplet due to presence of 3 neighboring protons. Now calculate the multiplicity of proton C. For proton C, there is no neighboring proton that can split its signal. So here you will get 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. That means proton C will give singlet in NMR spectrum. Generally, non-equivalent protons splits each other's signal only if they are present on the adjacent carbon. That's why proton C will give singlet. There is no proton present in the neighboring position. Now come to the another example. First of all, identify the sets of chemically equivalent protons. There are 2 sets of chemically equivalent protons. First of all, calculate the multiplicity of proton A. For proton A, there are 2 equivalent protons present on the neighboring carbon. So here you will get 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. That means all the A set of proton will give triplet. Now let's calculate the multiplicity of proton B. To get the multiplicity of proton B, you have to calculate all the A set of proton present on the neighboring carbon. So as there are 4 A set of proton present on the neighboring carbon, you will get 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. That means B set of proton will give quintet. Now come to the another example. First of all, identify the sets of chemically equivalent protons. Here there are 3 sets of chemically equivalent protons. Let's calculate the multiplicity of proton A. Here there are 2 chemically equivalent protons present on the neighboring carbon. So here you have to place the value 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. Means proton A will give triplet in NMR spectrum. Now get the multiplicity of proton B. The signal of proton B will split by the A set of proton as well as by the B set of proton. As there are 2 sets of chemically equivalent proton present on the neighboring carbon. So here you have to use the formula n plus 1 multiplied by n plus 1. So first of all, calculate the A set of proton. So as there are 2 A set of proton and 3 C set of proton. Now place the values. So here you will get 2 plus 1 multiplied by 3 plus 1. On solving it, you will get 3 multiplied by 4. So here you will get 12. The multiplicity of B set of proton will be 12. Now calculate the multiplicity of C set of proton. For C set of proton, there are 2 B set of proton present on the neighboring carbon. So here you will get 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So proton C will give triplet in NMR spectrum. Now let's see how do we differentiate between cis and trans protons of geometrical isomers. First of all, identify the chemically equivalent proton in both the isomers. So there are 3 sets of chemically equivalent proton in both the isomers. Let's calculate the multiplicity of A set of proton in both the isomers. In trans isomer, proton A has one neighboring proton. In cis isomer also, proton A has just one neighboring proton. So in both the isomer, you will get 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. That means in both the isomers, proton A will give doublet. Now calculate the multiplicity of proton B. For proton B, there is just one neighboring proton in both the isomer. So again here you will get doublet for proton B as well. For proton C, there is no neighboring proton present in both the isomer. So in both the cases, proton C will give singlet. So here you have observed, just on the basis of multiplicity, we cannot differentiate between cis and trans protons of both the isomers. But coupling constant can distinguish between cis and trans protons. So let's try to understand what is coupling constant. Coupling constant is the distance in hertz between two adjacent peaks of a split NMR signal. It is denoted by a capital letter J. For example, if this is the doublet, the distance between these two peaks in hertz is the coupling constant or J. If the signal of proton A being split by proton B, then the coupling constant will be denoted by JAB. The signals of coupled proton have the same coupling constant. Means the coupling constant of proton A being split by proton B and the coupling constant for proton B being split by proton A will equal to each other. Means JAB will be equal to JBA. Coupling constant is directly proportional to the dihedral angle between two CH bonds. It is known as Karplus relationship. So according to Karplus relation, coupling constant J is directly proportional to the dihedral angle between two CH bonds. Dihedral angle in trans isomer is 180 while it is 0 in case of cis isomer. That's why the coupling constant for trans proton will be more than that of cis protons. Even though you get doublet for proton A and proton B in both the isomer, but the distance between multiplet can help you to identify whether it is cis proton or the trans protons. In case of trans proton, there is more distance between the split signals as compared to the cis protons. That's how on the basis of coupling constant, you can differentiate between the spectrum of cis and trans isomers. For trans isomer, there is more distance between the split signals as compared to the cis isomer. Now let's predict the multiplicity of each proton of ethyl benzene. First of all, identify the sets of chemically equivalent proton. Then use n plus 1 rule.